Hello and welcome to the Muddled and Lock podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, helping to pointless banter like a folks say, questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. So today, Locke, I want to talk about this, something that's been going on, I guess, for the past few weekends now. My daughter, she's in flag football. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So she does it through the YMCA, and they have like this really cool flag football program that they do for the kids. And so there's like practices a couple of times a week, and then games every Saturday that we go to, and it's a lot of fun. And I really enjoy watching her play, and she's gotten really good. She's been doing it for the past few years now. Now, something I've been running into more and more, right? We've been like talking to the coaches, like the coaches, they're just, volunteers and whatnot. And we, the parents and the coaches get to know each other really well over this time. And every year we've been, recruiting in a sense. Like we pick out like the top players and whatnot. And we're like, let's, get all these players back in for next year, next season. Everybody jump on with this coach or these coaches or whatever. And, so we've all gotten to know each other pretty well. So my daughter's been playing with mostly like the same kids, every year. And she's getting to a point now. I don't know if it's jealousy or what it is, because we have a couple players that are really good, right? Like a couple kids who, they catch really well. They're really fast. They're really aggressive, and they go all in, and they practice all the time because they're really passionate about playing the game. And I know, like this year so far, we've had 3 games and we've won all 3. And like after the game, I tell my daughter like how proud I am, and I'm like, oh, you guys killed it. You absolutely killed it. Well done today. And she'll come back at me and be like, yeah, but I barely got the ball ever. It's like I'm not even needed because, the ball's always getting passed to so-and-so or whoever, because they're really fast and stuff, and I feel like I don't participate. And like obviously when you're put in that position, right? Like we try to encourage her, and we're like, yeah, but I mean, he can't do these things without the team behind him. You guys all play a significant part in your guys' victory. He's not doing it by himself. I mean, don't be ridiculous. If he was out there by himself, he would get like demolished, right?
Right.
But she doesn't care. Like obviously, like I know she's not, completely oblivious to that fact, but it's still like this. I don't know if it's a kind of resentment, right? Because every time you hear cheering and whatnot, it's usually in favor of the person or the kid that's doing something, like sprinting all the way down the field. Like they got the ball, they got to break away, they're sprinting down the field, and we're all like, yeah, go so and so. And she doesn't get that, that cheering as much as those other kids do, because she's not put in those positions where it's just like, everybody's celebrating, her skills or whatever it may be. Now, I don't think this is something that like solely my child experiences, right? Like
Right.
I'm sure this goes on to other people, other teams, probably even professional teams. Like I'm willing to bet, right? Because like, you have these teams that, like if we're talking like professional teams, right? Have these teams that are doing really well, but there's that star player, where all the media focuses on them, and everybody like adores these players that are singled out. Now, are these players asking for that? No. I mean, most of the time, like, no, I don't believe they necessarily are. I'm wondering if the other teammates, are looking at them like with resentment, right? Or being like, ugh, like, God, like they act like this person's, Jesus on ice or something, where it's just like it doesn't give credit to the rest of the team that are, busting their asses and making these wins happen. Like, the media's all focused on, and the masses are focused on this single player, being like, God, this is the reason why this team is winning, because this player plays really well, and just gives zero credit to the rest of the players.
Right.
Now I'm wondering if we can like how far this goes. Yeah. If we're to consider, when we play video games, yeah, not even go into like playing sports as kids, but let's go to right now where we're like, me and you, we're not as athletic as we used to be. So let's just focus on video games here. Yeah.
You gotta bring it up.
Now, if we're to focus on video games now, let's take Rainbow Six Siege for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
So especially like when we played a lot, and we'd go into these matches, and we'd always have a top player. Yeah. Like 9 times out of 10, we would have a top player on our team, right? Where it's like a responsibility falls upon that top player, and they have to carry us through. Yeah. Because the rest of us are a bunch of numpties that don't know what they're doing, and it's all up to that top player. That's like every time I go into it, that's how I feel, right? Like I know we all have these skills that we could put into it, but I feel like every time we have particular people that we're playing with, there's always that top player that we're just like, you know what? Like, I'm not even going to try my hardest because, the top player's going to carry us all the way, And I try to, like, I have a tendency myself of not getting too invested, where I'm just like, you know what? My only goal here is not to be the bottom player on our team. That's my only goal.
I have a low bar as far as what I expect of myself, and it's just don't be the bottom player.
Yeah, exactly. So I am wondering if, like, I don't know if that was always the fact, right? It's more something that I've come into over time, because I know when I was younger and I was more ambitious, like, I wanted that top spot. I was pushing for it. And if I didn't get it, even if we would win, I would hold like at least a little bit of resentment in my heart for that person that took the MVP.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I put out so much, and I didn't get that top spot, and they took it from me. As if it were mine.
Right.
It was mine, and they took it.
That was solely mine, and they took it from me. They stole it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and I'm wondering if you've ever experienced like the same thing, if you've ever come into that, whether it be video games or, sports as a kid, or just competitive games, growing up. What have you ever had, that feeling?
For me, more of I have an expectation of myself, not as far as like, I'm going to be the leader in this. I definitely try to not be the bottom, but sometimes it happens, whether it's you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, like there's nobody around you, and everybody else is where they need to be, or it's all about who you're facing up against. But my expectation of myself is just, I'm gonna try my best, and then when my best seems like I'm just slacking everywhere and everybody else is getting the upper hand on me, I'm like, I can do better than this. I know I can do better than this.
So you're kind of warring with yourself for the most part, with your own unreasonable expectations of yourself. And if it's not quite up to par, then you hold like a form of resentment towards yourself and your own ability.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay. No, I get that. I get that completely. No, that's yeah. I don't know if that's healthy.
No, it's not. I can assure you it's not. I know it's not. So when I get to that point of agitation, I then, after yelling profusely, will become silent and mute myself so that nobody else catches that.
Yeah.
Like I hate knowing too that I'm the one that now caused a stir in our group, and I feel bad about it, so I'm just like I'm going silent, which seems to also almost have the same effect. Because then
Right.
somebody else has now started adding on to it, where they're like, "Man, f this, blah blah blah." It's just an endless cycle. It's like watching dominoes right in front of me, and then
Oh man, that's true.
I'm like, you know what? And that's when I stopped playing for a while. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't. I then blame myself for the causes of what had happened, whether it's right or not.
That's hilarious. Oh man, I love that. No, we've had many conversations about you especially.
Oh yeah, that feels comforting to know.
No, no, it's so funny though that you're like so self conscious about it because man, especially with Spooldo, I've had conversations on multiple occasions where we just laugh it up at how hilarious it is when you get so upset, and we're just like. Oh man, and we find it very endearing, you know,
uh,
and very humorous. Like even though like you're like cursing and you're angry and stuff, and you know you'd feel like good friends would want to be like empathetic or sympathetic towards you and like you know help to support you and bring you up. No,
no,
we just laugh at
no,
you
not yeah,
because
not my specific group of friends. Not
yeah.
this friend group that I've built up over the years. We just kind of laugh and point out what that person is doing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, it's so funny. We absolutely love it when you get that way. I know it's not healthy for you, and I'm sorry, but we find it hilarious. Um,
Uh,
now, this isn't always the case. Like, there's some, you know, there's some rage, you know, for some people who like you kind of get frustrated with. Yeah, like I know exactly what you're talking about when you get angry and you know the whole domino effect and whatnot into everybody's mood. Now it's not all like I wouldn't say that you necessarily have that influence over you know the rest of the crew or the rest of the players that are playing. I mean maybe sometimes, but I'd probably say pretty rarely. It's usually what sours the mood usually during competition is expectations, I feel. Like if someone like I know you have expectations of yourself and that's fine, but it's when other people have expectations of someone else. You know, that's where things start to sour, I feel. I mean especially if it's something that's like I know there's like competition and whatnot, but there's like I feel like you get to a certain point in your life, especially if you play video games a lot, where you become like sort of jaded, right? Where it's not as crucial to you, you know, victory's not as crucial, right? But there's some people that kind of like hold on to that and they will not let it go because they're just very competitive people and they'll hold those expectations in the rest of the party and they'll get frustrated with the fact that you're not taking it more seriously. We say the fact like oh it's just video games, it's not like you know a professional setting or this that and the other. Like I understand that argument, but if we think about even professional settings and whatnot, it's still a game. There's no one life on the line or something. There's no you know real reason to take it seriously. I mean, sure, maybe there's a paycheck or a reward of some kind, but you know, all in all, like, what does any of that matter? Not to get existential or anything. We won't go into that, but
oh god.
but no, but that's what usually sours it for me is when someone has expectations of me in particular and then they express disappointment in me for not being able to perform. Then maybe at that in that moment I'll hold some resentment for that person and be like, I don't know who the hell you think you are.
Right.
Like, I mean, you needed to take a step down from that little high horse you're on, that podium that you're standing on, and quit thinking that like I need some kind of coaching. You know, I'm just hanging out with buddies. That's all I'm there for, hanging out with buddies. I mean, sure, like I'll express my frustrations here and there, of things that don't seem right, or if I get taken out by some wall pops,
Yeah, like
whatever
random
it's
pop
called.
shots.
Yeah, they take random pop shots and I die, and I'm like, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, no, I
Like,
lose my shit. I'm like, there is no way.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's crazy sometimes, like the situations you'll find yourself in. But that's not. It's not something where I'm analyzing myself or my own performance or the performance of my peers. It's just like something that happened that's like that seems unfair. That sucks, and I hate it. Like there's moments like that. Yeah, sure, I might go off on, but for the most part, like especially when it comes to my peers or spending time with them playing, I'll hold no expectations whatsoever. If we lose, we lose. If we win, awesome. Like good job, good on ya. My only goal right now is not to be the asshole on the bottom of the list, right? That's that's all I want. That's my only ambition, I guess that's just like a small competitive inkling in the back of my mind that even like no matter how jaded I've become over the years, playing these competitive games and whatnot, there's still enough there to make me not want to be on the bottom.
right. And I'll tell you another problem that I've noticed with myself for, like, say, some other games, like, let's say Rocket League, for example. A game where I had no idea what I was doing when I first played it, let's be honest, and I just kept my wheels on the ground almost at all times.
Yep.
Except for the times where you accidentally go up the wall and then you just flip over. And then you're like, all right, how do I flip myself back over? Oh, jeez.
Right. Yep. No, I get it. I get it.
So then, you might start feeling bad. Somebody ends up making comments, and now you're like, I gotta get better. And I stopped playing it for a while, and then I just started playing it again. Not recently, but started playing it again, and then they're like, oh, you gotten so much better, and it starts building the ego, and then once I started doing terrible and doing all commits, stuff like that, I was like, oh, great, I'm terrible. Like,
terrible again.
yep, terrible again. I was feeling so good, and I was shot back down.
Oh, that's what it is. Just a flip of the switch, isn't it?
Yep.
I feel like as far as if we go back to, the beginning, like, having some kind of resentment for that top tier player, do you think that exists for you? In my mind, it doesn't sound like you hold any resentment towards the top player. Like you don't want to, you don't have any ambitions to be that top player.
Not
anymore.
really.
It's
No,
just,
I do have some issues when that top player ends up turning around and purposely trying to secure, say, a kill or something, just so that they can say, I don't know, I got the ace, and be like, well, cool, but I could have had that kill. There could have been so much less stress, but you wanted to run in there and get it blindly and not follow some strategy. You want to run in gung ho, and now because you ran in, you end up dying, and now you're mad.
Yeah, maybe it's just, it's a personality trait, I feel at this point. Because, like, yes, like, maybe it's something you grow out of and you start becoming more of a good sport. And, you see the benefit, like, in the grand scheme of things. Maybe it's a more childish things. But, in some cases, there's people that haven't grown out of that. I mean, I guess it's, not judging those people whatsoever. Right? It's not, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just something that maybe I haven't noticed before. And then just from my daughter, fussing about it and be like, even though she won the game, her team won, she's still upset that she didn't get top tier plays, and she didn't get the cheering and what
It was like she didn't get MVP, so therefore it was all a loss.
Yeah.
Team did terrible. I wasn't the key star. That we lost.
Yeah, yeah.
You have the trophy in hand. No, 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 no. I lost.
And it's so disappointing, because like especially, walking away and like wanting to congratulate, like your kid, and wanting to congratulate them, but they're just all in a hissy because they didn't get top player and it spoils the mood. I'm like, oh fuck, yeah. Why? Like,
Right.
why does it have to be like this? Man, maybe it's just something she'll grow out of. I don't know. I've been trying to get.
I don't know. If it's an expectation thing, she might not.
Maybe not.
Because like I still haven't grown out of having expectations for myself and not meeting them and getting upset about it. So,
well, yeah, maybe it's just a personality thing. Maybe it'll always be that way, and misery will follow closely behind, day in day out.
It seems so dark. Maybe I do need to reconsider and think about some
You need
things.
therapy, sir.
Well, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. Thank you for joining us on the Merle and Locke podcast. If you enjoyed this banter, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke, or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.